this lesson, we are going to be using the Pythagorean theorem to find a missing side of a triangle. Well, the Pythagorean theorem formula that we need to know is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Notice the little triangle that I have drawn on the side. The red box tells me it's a right triangle. The Pythagorean theorem can only be used if you have a right triangle. And I see either of my legs could be called A or B, but my hypotenuse must be letter C. And I like to think of, as I'm looking at that drawing, that this arrow is actually pointing to the hypotenuse. So no matter how the triangle is turned, if you look at your perpendicular box, your 90-degree box, you can easily find the hypotenuse. So for the three problems we're going to be solving today, we're going to find the missing side, and we're going to actually round our answers to the nearest hundredth if necessary. All right, well, looking at number 1, we have 6 and an 8, and we're looking for this missing side. So again, I see that I can walk across from my 90-degree box, and I know that I am actually looking for letter C here. So I'm going to write the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. I think I'll call this side A and this side B. It really does not matter which one you call A or B, but C is most important. So I'm going to write 6 squared plus 8 squared is equal to c squared. Well, knowing that for me to solve this, I've got to do 6 squared, which is 6 times 6 is 36, plus 8 squared is 8 times 8, 64 is equal to c squared. Now I'm going to add these together, and I get 100 is equal to c squared. Finally, as you remember with solving equations with exponents, when the exponent is alone, we can finally take the square root of both sides, and our answer is going to be c is equal to the square root of 100 is 10. The reason I'm not writing positive or negative 10, because to find the side of a triangle, it would never be a negative number. All right, so let's look at number 2. Here we have a triangle. Oh, it's turned some. We know it's a right triangle, so we can use the Pythagorean theorem. I have a 5 side, a 12, and here's my missing side. So I'm not sure which it is, but I'm going to walk right across from my 90-degree box. Oh, and I see that that one is definitely letter C. So I labeled that, and it doesn't matter what I call A or what I call B, but I've just labeled the pictures so you'll see how I'm setting up the problem. So here I have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I always like to start off with writing the formula. So it is 5 squared plus 12 squared is equal to c squared. And 5 squared is 5 times 5, 25, plus 12 squared is 12 times 12, 144 is equal to c squared. I'm going to be adding those two numbers together, and I get 169 is equal to c squared. Now that the c squared is ready, the numbers are all simplified, we can take the square root of both sides, and so c is going to be equal to 13. So our missing hypotenuse is 13. And notice, I did not put any units in, but if it was in inches, it would just be 13 inches. It's just your regular measurement units. Looking at number 3 now, again, I'm going to write a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. And when I'm looking at this, I'm walking across from my hypotenuse, from my 90-degree box, and there's my hypotenuse. So I know that the 6, it has to be letter C. I don't know what's missing. I know the side that's missing. It can be called A or B, so I think I will call it A, and we will say that the 3 is B. Using this equation now, let's plug in the information from the picture. So we do not know A, so I am just writing A squared plus B was 3 squared is equal to, and again, C was 6. So it is 6 squared, following our formula, A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now I will bring down my A squared, because I can't do anything yet. I have plus 3 squared is 3 times 3 is 9, is equal to 6 squared is 6 times 6, which is 36. You know, in order to do this last step where you're taking the square root, the A squared must be alone. So I am going to subtract 9 from both sides of the equation, and I end up with A squared is equal to 36 minus 9, which is 27. Now I can take the square root of both sides. And for this problem, finally, we're going to be looking at how to round it to the nearest hundredth. So if you use your calculator and you put in this 27, the square root, and this is just a regular square root of 27, you get an answer where A is going to be equal to 5.196, and your numbers continue. When they say round to the nearest hundredth, here's our hundredth, so we have to look at the thousands place. And if we're rounding this to the nearest hundredth, since there's a 6 there, we have to go up 1 from 9, which would make this A is equal to 5.20. We have gone up our 100th, and this is our answer for the missing side of number 3. If this video was helpful to you today, please add a like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more Math with Marcia. See you again soon.